Hi Christmas crew, and welcome back to the Cozy Christmas Cottage. Can I just tell you how amazing it feels to finally have the Christmas tree up and the fireplace and the shelves all decorated here in the Cozy Christmas Cottage? It goes to show we are getting closer and closer to the big day. One of my absolute favorite things to craft with during the holidays is with ribbon. There are just so many fun things you can do, and it just really kind of adds an extra little element and embellishment to your gifts, to your tree, to your ornaments, to so many different things. So I just absolutely love working with ribbon, and I actually get a couple questions pretty regularly. One is, how do you make a simple bow? And the second question is, how do you add ribbon to your Christmas tree? So we're gonna tackle both of those questions in today's video. So let's start with that ever popular question of, how do you make a really simple bow? So this is really simple and my go-to bow for most things, so let me show you how this works. We're gonna take our ribbon, leave it on the spool, we don't want any waste. Take your fingers and we're going to make 2 loops and kind of grab in the center with your thumb and the rest of your fingers and leave some tails. Now we're gonna take the right side loop, move it over to the left side, and make sure your thumbs are kind of sitting in there, making a hole in between them, and then pull that loop through the hole that you've created in the middle. Then just pull your loops through, and here is the trick to this. Do not tighten it at this point. We want to do a lot of work on this bow to make sure that it's looking nice before we finish it off. So that's honestly the biggest tip and help that I can give you when it comes to making bows. You actually do need to do some work to them to make them look nice. So you're gonna fluff up the bow and the loops and make sure that your ribbon and tails are all looking nice before you pull it tight in the center. And then you'll actually continue to kind of keep fluffing and arranging until you have a nice looking bow. So in this case, I only have a one-sided pretty side to my ribbon. So I am having to do a little bit of twisting to the tails to make sure that pretty side is facing up. If you have a double-sided ribbon, sometimes satin are double-sided, or even prints can be double-sided, you won't have this problem so much. But if you only have one side, you will have to do a little bit more work to make sure that your good side is facing up. Then you'll just fold your tails in half and then take your scissors and cut down at an angle, and that is going to give you a nice pretty tail and finishing look. So it does take some time. I'm not going to say this is a quick process, but it is an easy process, especially if you do this a couple times. You will eventually have a really nice looking bow that you can be proud of. So that is probably the most simple, but let's take this up a notch, do a little bit more fancy of a one, and this is going to help have a little template set up for you, 2 dowel rods taped down to your surface, and then we're going to take our ribbon, a long length about 24-ish inches, and we're going to take that and wrap it over twice over the dowel rods. Take your left tail, put it in your right hand, and vice versa, the right in your left hand, and then you're going to pull the longer tail up over the loops in between the dowel rods and pull it back under, and then you've actually created a hole underneath. It's kind of hard to see here, but you're going to take that tail and you're going to loop it through the loop that you made underneath there, still keeping the tails in your hands and kind of pulling it tight in the center. Don't pull too hard. Obviously you can see the dowel rods are starting to come together. We don't want that too much, but we do want to tighten up that center. Move the center knot to the middle and then start pulling the loops apart. You'll see here we've actually created 2 loops on each side, which just makes for a fancier bow. Once you have the loops kind of pulled apart and fluffed up and looking nice, then you'll go ahead and remove your bow from the dowel rods, and you have created a gorgeous bow, and all you have left to do is cut down your tails. So this time I'm just cutting the tails at an angle, so this is another option depending on how fancy you want your bow tails to look. And here is the finished project. So I want to do this again and show it to you sped up this time, because it definitely took me a couple times of watching a tutorial before I actually caught on to this, and I wanted you to see it one more time. And of course you can always go back and replay this section a few times if you want to give it a try yourself, but it's the same. The directions are the same as the last one. It's just kind of, I'm using a different colored ribbon and speeding it up for you instead of going into all the little details. And honestly, I learn a lot better visually, so it just kind of helps me to watch it in process over and over again versus hearing somebody try to explain it. So I hope that this helps, and you'll see this bow comes out just as nice as the one before. And depending on what kind of ribbon that you're using, your bows are going to turn out a little bit different, but I would suggest more of a soft ribbon. This is a chiffon, and I will link it down below for you. It makes for beautiful ribbons. Stiffer ribbon like grosgrain might have a little bit more hard time coming out nice for you, but give it a try. Even some satin ribbon and some sheer ribbon would probably work really well for this too. So I hope both of these bow tutorials were helpful for you, so you can start using bows in your Christmas decor, your Christmas gift giving, and your Christmas DIYing. Now, how do you add ribbon to your Christmas tree? So there's lots of different ways to do it, but I'm going to show you the absolute easiest way, which is what I do for my Christmas trees. So basically you're just gonna need some pipe cleaners, and I would suggest using pipe cleaners that either are going to match your ribbon, which is what I'm gonna do here, or use green or a color that is gonna match your Christmas tree. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to start with a big roll of ribbon. I'm gonna take my scissors, I'm gonna dovetail the end, and all you do is you fold your ribbon in half and cut down at an angle from the folded side to the open side, and that is going to make for a beautiful little ribbon tail for our loops of ribbon we're gonna add to the tree. So now that we have that is the good start to our ribbon we're going to add to this tree. We're going to unroll the ribbon. Do not cut anything off yet. We're going to try to prevent any kind of waste here. And then you're going to make a loop at the top of your ribbon here, just one single loop. So you can see here, I've kind of grabbed it down towards the bottom and left a little bit of a tail on the front. So now to crease this is a little bit of an important part of this process. You're going to take your ribbon, push down in the middle, and then pull the edges back. And what you'll create is a mountain, a valley, and another mountain. And then you're going to take your pipe cleaner and you're going to twist that around where you've cinched it. And since we're just doing one loop here, one pipe cleaner is going to be plenty to hold onto our tree. Now we can go ahead and cut off the excess just using some scissors and cutting not too close to the pipe cleaner. We don't want it to come out and unlodge from there. And then you'll just fluff up your loop, and that's all we have to do to create a little loop that is going to go on our Christmas tree. So let's head over to the Christmas tree. You'll see here I have a big hole in my Christmas tree that is needing filled. So we're going to do that with this ribbon. You'll just take those pipe cleaners and twist it around one of the branches that is in or near that hole in your tree. Just twist it around and make sure it's good and secured. So here is a close-up look of it, and what we're going to do now is we're just going to start fluffing that loop in the tail. You'll kind of take the loop and make sure it is covering the hole and also the pipe cleaner and the branch that it's sitting on, so it's kind of unnoticeable. And then you just kind of fluff the tail too, make sure it's flowing down, and we've just taken a piece of ribbon to make what looks like a bow, but so much easier and faster. And you'll just add several of those around your Christmas tree, just evenly spacing them out. Now you'll notice on my tree, I actually have two different kinds of ribbon, and that is just a nice way to offset it and add some more texture to your tree, and a good way to fill in a bunch of those holes so you don't need to use a ton of ornaments. So again, I will make sure to link the ribbon that I use down in the description box below if I can find it. This is from last year, so I'm hoping it's still available this year. And another tip is to create a bow for the top of your tree that also matches the ribbon that you've used throughout your tree too. This first ribbon project is going to elevate your Christmas gifts in a simple way. Let me show you how. So this project is using HTV, and it is mainly for my Cricut or vinyl cutter users here. If you don't have a vinyl machine, you can just get iron-on letters from the craft store, but if you have a Cricut machine, grab some of this metallic gold HTV. I'll link it down below for you. I sent it through my Cricut machine and cut out a name. Just make sure you mirror your image when you're cutting on HTV so that it comes out with the adhesive on the back side and the carrier sheet on the front. So once once I had that weeded out, this is my daughter's name, I'm gonna add it to that beautiful chiffon ribbon. This makes for such a beautiful elevated look, and it's also a great alternative to using traditional gift tags. So I'm dovetailing the end of this ribbon so I know where I want to hang or apply my name onto at the very end. So I'm just putting that on the top. The carrier sheet does have a little bit of adhesive on there, so it keeps it in place for you. I do like to put a little cotton fabric over the top of that and then use my little heat press, my mini heat press, which I'll link down below for you too, over the top. So what you want to do with this is you want the heat all the way up, and you are going to move your iron or heat press over the HTV for about 15 seconds and then remove your cloth and kind of let it cool down a little bit. We are going to peel this while it is still warm and not cooled off all the way, and it is going to apply and attach that HTV onto the ribbon for us. Really, really pretty. So I'm going to do the opposite of this to make kind of a matching set. So I have my gold chiffon ribbon out, and I cut out some red HTV, and I'm going to apply that on there with my little mini heat press in the same way I did with the other one. Again, I will definitely make sure to link all the supplies I'm using down in the description box below for you. And once this had cooled a little bit, remove that carrier sheet off the top and have a now permanent name and customization to the ribbon. And I just love this. It looks so high end and classy, and it does not take very long to do it all. So now that we have our beautiful ribbon, we're going to use it to wrap some gifts with. So I've just wrapped the chiffon ribbon around my gift and then tied it into a knot. You just want to make sure you are keeping an eye on where your name is laying, because we don't want that kind of tied up in the middle there. We want enough room for it to hang down. And you'll just tie a knot with the other end and make that pretty with a dovetail. And that's it. As simple as that. Just tying some ribbon around your gifts, and has the name on it, so it is good to go and ready to give. Another way to use this is with your gift bags. So we're going to use some ribbon to kind of make a layering effect. This ribbon is from the Dollar Tree in their plus section. It's a velvet ribbon. I want to say it's about a 1.5 inch size, and we're going to use that for the bottom layer. So I dovetailed the end, laid it on my bag, and then took my decorative ribbon and laid it on top. And then I kind of gauged how long I needed it to be before cutting it off, and then using some tape to fold it over the top edge of the gift bag and use some tape to apply it to the inside of the gift bag. Now, whenever I laid this down, it kind of popped up and wasn't laying flat. So what I did is took some adhesive with my tape runner. I'll link this down below for you too. Great for paper crafting, great for gift wrapping. And we're going to add some of that adhesive onto the back of the ribbon and fold it down to the front. Press it down flat so it'll lay nicely for us now and not move on us. We're also going to do the same technique, adding that personalized ribbon to the top over the green. I very much enjoy making my gifts look beautiful because it also makes for almost decoration underneath the Christmas tree. So I do a lot of work to make our Christmas gifts look nice and also look nice for the recipient. So this is a new technique I'm going to be using this year, and I hope you will give it a try too. And here's today's Christmas this or that. Do you prefer to wrap your Christmas gifts with wrapping paper, or do you prefer to put them in gift bags? Let me know which one you prefer down in the comments below. For this ribbon project, we're gonna make a loopy ribbon Christmas tree. So grab out some green cardstock, and we're gonna turn it into a cone by grabbing that top corner and pulling it down to the bottom and creating a point at the top and an opening at the bottom, wrapping the other corner around it. Once we have a nice shape to it, we're gonna use some of this hot glue to add to that corner and continue to wrap it and attach it onto the side of the cone, and then take your scissors and cut the bottom off straight. So here is the basis of our Christmas tree, a great inexpensive way to make your own Christmas tree decorations. Now I need to make those ribbon loops. I'm using that same Dollar Tree velvet ribbon here. I just kind of mocked up a loop and then cut that down to size and started using that as a template to cut more strips of this ribbon out. And then once I had a few of them cut, I actually went ahead and went back in and cut all of those in half lengthwise, so I had smaller strips. Now we're going to take our hot glue, add it to one end and the back side of the ribbon, and then fold it up in the front to create that loop. That is one of many that we're going to be making to apply to this Christmas tree to give it its shape. So go ahead and repeat this process for all of your loops. And I kind of did this in sections because I didn't want to waste ribbon. So I did a few at a time and then just worked my way around the tree. Now we're going to add those loops onto the tree. So I've added some hot glue to the back side of the loop, and we want to leave our tree laying flat on the table so we know where we want this first loop to lay, and then we're going to use that as a guide to keep on adding those loops and building it on. Now, as you can see too, I'm actually overlapping the left side corner just a little bit. We don't want any gaps in here. We really don't want to see the cardstock underneath, but if you do, that's why I went with a green cardstock, so it'll kind of blend in better. So here is the start of all the layering of all those loops, and we're going to continue this process until we make it all the way to the tippy top of the tree. I feel like this turned out so pretty, something you would even see in a store. And I also love this project because depending on the different types of ribbon that you use, you can get totally different looks with this. You can make different sizes of these and make a set. You can use different textures of ribbon and colors of ribbon and get totally different looks. So I love this one, and another one I hope you give a try. Another reason that I absolutely love ribbon is because you can add it to your everyday decor to update it or give it more of a Christmassy or seasonal look. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just taking some chiffon ribbon. Again, I'll link this down below for you. And I'm tying it onto my brass candlesticks. It is just going to give it more of a evergreen look to match my decor. So pretty and so easy and removable. So you can actually change these out for different holidays and seasons depending on how your decor looks, or you can take them right off super easy at the end of Christmas time and they go back to everyday decor. Next up, we're going to make a really fun and whimsical tassel using some different ribbons and yarn and string, and also this really nifty tassel loom that I absolutely love, and I'll link down below for you. In my last video, which was DIY yarn creations for Christmas, if you missed that video, I will link that down below for you, but I showed you how to use the loom with yarn. This time I'm going to show you how to use this loom with ribbons. And it's a really great way to kind of use up some of those leftover scrap pieces of ribbon or yarn or anything you have. And this is going to be a really fun, whimsical way to use it. And we're going to have to do a little bit of adjustment since we're using scrap pieces and shorter pieces instead of wrapping it and wrapping it like we did the yarn. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a larger ribbon or widest ribbon first. I'm just doing one loop here. So I am not able to like catch it like you would whenever you wrap it and wrap it. So I'm actually using a little clip at the bottom that's going to hold this in place for us and allow us to continue layering it as we go. So like I said, we're going to do the whiter ribbon first. I'm using all of that fun chiffon ribbon at the very bottom, and then we're going to add the smaller ribbon over the top of that. I'm also clipping off the ends as I'm just doing the one layer of each of the bigger ones, and then also just doing one layer of the smaller ones and a couple layers of this green ribbon that I had. We are going to wrap the red and white twine around a few times since it's smaller. You're not going to see it so much if I just put one layer in. So same thing with that, and also the gold yarn. And I just did a couple more layers of the green and added some rickrack in there too. So this is one of those, like I said, using all that scrap, it definitely helps. So we're gonna pull some string through the left and the right side over that bar in the middle with all that ribbon, and add a couple knots in there, and that is going to hold all the ribbon together and start creating this tassel for us. So we've done that. We're going to pull that string to the back side of the loom. So that's going to be the top of our tassel. And then we're going to take this and fold it in half. And you do want to make sure that you are taking some more string at this point and then tying it around the top. This is going to make the top of your tassel and make it look nice. So you're going to put it in there, kind of tie it around, a couple knots here for your first layer, and then leave a tail and start wrapping that a few more times around your ribbon, and then tie it off in the back and the end and trim off the excess. Now to cut this tassel off the loom, you're going to stand it up, grab all those tails, take the clip off and hold it tight. Take your scissors, and there's two little spaces at the bottom for your scissors to fit into. We're going to trim off the first with all the loops, and the second one we're going to trim off all those excess tails hanging at the bottom that we've kind of held tightly so they don't go flying off on us. And then slip your scissors into the bottom and trim off any of the loops that are down there, and then we can take this off the loom. So this metal bar actually comes off. You'll remove the loom from in between the loom, or remove the tassel from the loom, and then pull that bar out of the top. And then the bottom of it just needs some trimming so it's nice and even. Take your scissors, trim it off flat, and we've pretty much created our tassel. One other thing I would suggest is to fluff your tassel. So some of that stuff that got lost in the middle, start pulling it out to the outside, especially some of the smaller stuff that could get lost in there. If you just kind of fluff it up, it'll look nicer for you, and you'll see all the little details of the embellishments that we added in there. We're going to embellish the top too. So I cut the ends of the string of the top of the tassel off even, and then put some tape on, and we're going to add a few little wood beads to the top of this and make it look even nicer. These wood beads are actually from the Dollar Tree. Love that they have those this year. So once I got 3 of those on there, I tied a knot in the top of the string and just made a loop so we will be able to hang this tassel. And one more quick embellishment that is optional is I added a jingle bell onto the front here. I just grabbed a piece of the yarn that was hanging on the front and then tied the top of the jingle bell to the front of the tassel. So what a fun and funky, whimsical Christmas look. A great way to use up all that leftover yarn from last year, or all of the yarn that you have laying around in your craft stash. Fun to add as an ornament to your Christmas tree, or like I'm showing you here, cute to add to the front of a stocking. This next ribbon project is so quick, and we're going to be adding a jingle bell onto the front of some ribbon to hang it from a door handle. So cute to get the jingle bell sound when you open and close your door. So these jingle bells are from Amazon. I'll link them down below for you. They are really nice, heavy brass, and they have a really pretty sound. So definitely worth checking out. Again, I'll link it down below for you. We're gonna cut the end of our ribbon at an angle and feed it through our jingle bell, cut the other end of our ribbon off, and then grab it at the top and then tie a knot. The knot you want towards the end where the tails are, because we want to leave a space in there to fit over our door handle. And then we can add a little bit more embellishment on here. You can leave it as is, or I had some of this Norfolk pine that I'm just gonna cut a couple little sprigs off of and hot glue it onto the top where that knot is. So I love that little piece of greenery there hanging over the door handle. It just adds a little pop of color. And like I said, it sounds so fun whenever you open and close your doors. I hope that these ribbon tips and tricks and even DIYs help give you some inspiration for this holiday season. Let me know which one of these projects was your favorite down in the comments below. And if you could, please take 1 second and hit that thumbs up button. That helps out the Cozy Christmas Cottage channel so much. And if you enjoyed today's video and you are new, I would love to have you subscribe so you can come back for new videos that I post here every single week. And now that you're in the Christmas spirit, I have 2 more Christmas videos popping up on your screen. Continue on with the Christmas inspiration by clicking one that is your favorite. Head on over and I will see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a very happy holiday season.